Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel for another car events video. Today we have traveled all the way to Hershey, Pennsylvania for the 2024 Hershey Car Show. Now this is my first time here. There's a huge swap meet and of course this car show going on. There are many different classes of cars parked here. Many of them are parked via the year, the number of cylinders, manufacturer, so many different ways that they're parked here today. So let's go ahead and take a look around and see if we can see anything interesting. So right off the bat, we have the oldest cars here in this section, and we'll kind of move down the field to supposedly newer vehicles all the way at the end. It's going to take a while to go through, but we'll take a look at the interesting cars. There's definitely no way we can take a look at every single one, or else this video would be about 12 hours long. And earlier, actually there's still a little bit of steam coming out the bottom, but earlier there was a lot of steam coming out, and it looked pretty interesting. So pretty cool to see this vehicle here. I'm sure we'll see lots of other unique cars as well. Now check out this car. Now my knowledge of vehicles from the early 20th century is next to none, but apparently this is a Mercer. Check out how sporty it looks. 2 spare tires in the back, beautiful wood grain on the interior. And it is interesting the different types of classes they have. Gas vehicles, 4-wheel brakes, 8-cylinder or more, 1920, 1929. I can't imagine being the person telling people where to park. I would not be able to figure out what cars go where. Now this here is a Packard. Look at how huge this car is. And this would have been back in their heyday as well. Cloth interior, lots of wood, but it has jump seats in the back so you can fit, I guess, 6 or 7 people in here, and a very large armrest for those in the back. Looks like there are controls over there. I'm not sure if that's for maybe a radio or something else. I'm not entirely sure what that is. Maybe that's the speaker. And hey, there's my dad. That's what he looks like. Of course, my dad travels with me to all these shows, which is always fantastic. And he's always very knowledgeable on these cars. Right in the middle of everything is a Lamborghini Miura. Now this was a very, very forward-looking car at the time. I believe one of the first mid-engine sports cars to be built. And of course, extremely collectible. It's probably worth a lot of money. And apparently this is a 1969. And we've actually seen one Lamborghini Miura before at the Inn of St. John's. And that was multiple years ago, but this black one looks truly incredible. And I believe these are built all the way from 66 to the early 70s. And of course, it really put Lamborghini on the map. And I think they had a lot of young designers designing this vehicle with the headlights kind of into the body like that, flushed backwards. That was very futuristic as well. Here's an Eldorado. According to the license plate, it's a 57. There's the interior. Looks pretty much perfect to my eye. And perfectly clean under the hood. Looks really nice. Now here's a 58 Eldorado Baritz. A little bit newer than the other one we just saw. And quad headlights up front. Once again, another beautiful engine bay, but the paint is truly perfect on this car. I mean, it looks like a mirror. Green interior. That is very nice. Wow. This car certainly makes a statement. I love the black and the chrome together. And the green certainly is unique. And I have a feeling we're going to see a lot more Cadillacs. Here's a 59. I don't think I've ever seen a color like this on a 59 before, but geez, look at those fins. Here are a lot more vehicles from what appear to be the 60s. And we'll check out this Cadillac Fleetwood Brougham over here. So I am here with Jim and his 1966 Fleetwood Brougham. I figured Jim could do a lot better talking about this car than I could, so what do you have to say?
She was an original California car that was bought in a pair every year from the largest construction company in San Francisco. It stayed in the family until I got it 12 years ago. Wow. It had just under 70,000 miles at that time, but it had completely oxidized. So we restored this car paint-wise, and on the interior panels, which you can see right here on the doors, which are all walnut veneer. And so with this walnut veneer, it made them much better because they had oxidized as well. All the rubber had to be replaced, but the interior is original and the metal is all original. So the car was brought to me by a reference in my Cadillac LaSalle Club in Maryland called the Potomac region. And so we got the information about the car and we just decided that it would be a go. We picked it up and it became a love. And so we have 4 Cadillacs, a 41, a 53, a 66, and a 69. We drive them all because we think it's good to have people show and see them.
I agree.
It's a great hobby, and great to meet James and his incredible talents with videos.
Thank you.
And I'm looking forward to see how the ones that he's doing now come out.
Hopefully they'll be good, and that's what this is all about, is meeting the people, showing other people the cars, and sharing the stories. I think that's what a lot of this is, kind of have a communal event with these vehicles.
That's right.
Excellent. Well, thank you for your time, Jim.
Thank you, James. I appreciate you very much.
Of
Good
course.
luck.
Thank you. Now over here, this area is production vehicles from 76 to 77. So once again, kind of a wide variety of vehicles that would be over here. Still don't really understand how they choose these different categories for the cars. So over here we have a Lincoln Continental Mark 6, an 82. Anything you think you want to say about this car, Dan?
Well, the Continentals, as you know, they had the Mark 1, 2, 3, 4s, 5s, 6, 7s. This was kind of unique because they made this offered this in a 4-door, and it was smaller than the town car, so they kind of competed against themselves because they had a high-end luxury at that. I believe this was the higher end. But why would someone buy this versus the town car? I guess people that wanted a smaller car because they were talking about downsizing, and in 77 GM downsized, 79 Lincoln downsized in 80. So this was supposed to be slightly smaller than the town car, not much smaller, high luxury. So it was a unique market. I'm not sure it did as well because it just kind of wasn't sure it knew where to fit in.
And with all the variety, we have a Ford Mustang section. Looks like it's this entire row. So if you're a Ford person, you will definitely be interested, but I'm just amazed at all the variety that you can find here. There's a little bit of everything for everyone, and of course, out of 1,200 cars, that's not really that surprising. Now over here are some concept cars, so there's gonna be some unique stuff to see. Now right off the bat, here is a Tucker, very futuristic vehicle back at the time, and also very safe. There's actually an area up front where the passenger could fling themselves into, which was supposedly safe if they're about to get into a car crash. And it has 3 headlights up front, so very distinctive. And I believe it was actually going to be very popular, but there weren't that many built. Plenty of room in the back too. It's almost like you have an extra storage space up there. Trunk up front, engine in the rear. And the last time we saw one of these would have been in Kissimmee, Florida, at the auction there. And I love the exhaust pipes.
That we found, and we have little things like that, trying to keep things as original as possible.
So this is a Darren Kaiser, and the doors slide right into the front fender, which is pretty neat. This is a 1954. It has a 6-cylinder. The seats actually look very comfortable too. It's honestly kind of practical. You'll never hit your door against another car. Then again, I guess other people then could hit your car, so that wouldn't be nice. Now this has got to be the most unique car I've seen so far. It's a Moe's Safari car. Take a look at that. 1 of 3 prototypes produced, only 2 surviving. Built by Moe's Seaplane Corporation of Madison, Wisconsin. Wow, this is very interesting. And apparently there are 3 bucket seats in the interior. They came from Steve McQueen. The back area seat converts into a bed that sleeps 3 people. So this is all you'd need if you go on a safari. But look at this big front end. Those gold-looking bars protecting the headlights if you have to go through some brush. This car is so wide, so tall. An interesting material on the outside. It almost looks like a vinyl, but I'm not sure why that would be. Maybe if it was paint, it would just get scratched up. And obviously the door extends from the body of the car itself. I'm not sure why you'd want that. Maybe it's supposed to be easy use to get in and out. There are the bucket seats, 3 wide. I mean, this all looks completely custom. I don't know where or how they got these parts. The windows slide a little bit, open, kind of slide out that way. And I guess this is the area that folds into a bed. There are the hunting rifles. Oh my goodness. There's the seat. And that's a unique looking badge. Looks beautiful, really. And storage in here as well, it appears. Maybe that's a section that turns into the bed. I'm not entirely sure. And I guess the trunk. Just look at that. And 1 spare tire in the back. So I guess you got to be careful if you're out in the safari in Africa. You only have 1 tire that you can get a flat on and replace. But just look at how crazy this thing is. I'm sure the market for safari cars wasn't exactly that much or that high, so maybe that's why it failed. I have no idea. But this is definitely a unique vehicle. Now this is a 1944 KDF wagon type 82E, and boy does it have quite the history. So according to this sign, it was found in Krakow, Poland, with bullet holes, a front end collision, and lots of damage. And of course, since this is built in 1944, that is during World War II, and only 121 of them were built that year. The VW Beetle, which I believe this was eventually to become, was going to be the people's car, and this must have been one of the first ones. And an owner in Krakow, Poland had hidden it away for many years until multiple other people found it and attempted to restore it. Then eventually the car was purchased by someone here in the USA, and they had a huge project to find original parts to this car. 10 countries were involved until eventually they did build it as it supposedly would have been new. So this is a very historic vehicle, of course, but also a very controversial history and very incredible to see, especially since only 121 were built. Absolutely incredible. And check out that interior. Very sparse, not many features. And this must be the turn signal here in the side. Plenty of space here. I should say maybe not plenty, but enough for probably what you need. And we'll take another look at this sign a little bit closer in case if you all want to see what exactly it says. You can pause the video and read the whole thing. Now here is a 63 Cadillac hearse. This was built by Eureka, and here's the interior. It does have a radio there, Motorola. We do have a casket in the back. Hopefully no body in there. That would be probably a little bit crazy. And they have what looks to be a huge truck section. Many different kinds of trucks, school buses. There's a Hershey chocolate truck. Really blown away by how much there is here. Every single era, every single type of car. And I really wish I had enough time to show every single one just because they're all so different, so unique, so beautiful. And check out what we found. A 95 Fleetwood limousine built by Superior. Now, some of those who have been with us for a long time on the channel may remember that we had a 96 Fleetwood limousine, and I did get to review it. Love that car. It's perfect for little vacations that our family would take, or back in Boy Scouts. We all would squeeze in here into our limousine and ride around. And this one is a 24-hour car, so the middle row actually flips backwards, and then you can have rearward facing seats. Definitely not as comfortable as facing forward, but hey, it's unique. And being a Superior coach car, built in Ohio, very high quality. We actually loved our 96, and this car brings back a lot of memories. Truly do love seeing it. Now here is a Studebaker Avanti. I actually got to review one of these a few years ago. It actually rode pretty well. It was a red car and looked really beautiful. It appears that this one is a 1964 Studebaker Avanti. Oh yeah, and I forgot it had the mirror up front, a couple cup holders there, so I'm sure you could maybe get some shot glasses and drink and drive. Really unique interior, and I absolutely love the knobs that were really inspired by an airplane. Truly does look sporty and unique. And over in this section are all of the original historical preservation of original features. And here is a Chrysler New Yorker, and my dad's dad had a New Yorker at one point.
He did, but last one would have been like a 1970 or 71, and this is a 76. Chrysler was staying big at this point and no longer had the Imperial, so this was the top of the line Chrysler because there was no Imperial in 76.
Here's a Hudson Hornet. It has a big AC unit on the side to blow nice cool air into the interior. I'm sure that would be important during the hot summer months, especially if you're out west. And this one is a 1949. There's a little bit of paperwork here inside of the car. And this appears to be a sign maybe talking about this vehicle, the $10 car. So it looks like the lady who sold her husband's car sold it to this person for $10. And it looks like there are some photos there of what it looked like at the time. Looks like it's kind of a nicer shape now than what it looked like in the photo, but I mean, if it's original, maybe this is how it looked, just cleaned up. Believe it or not, there's even a section for fire engines. There's a ladder truck, and there are a few more down there of varying eras and ages, I'm sure. I do enjoy seeing these fire trucks. I feel like I see them oftentimes in parades and whatnot. It's always fun to see them going down the road, but I love how these ones are open top. And look at how old some of these are getting. This is a 1928, my goodness. Oh, and there's the siren. Imagine having to hand crank the siren as you go along. 1925 Buffalo. Served all the way from 1926 until 1939. Then it was put in storage. In 58, it was sold to a local collector for $48. My goodness. When it was sold again, it was restored for the 1976 bicentennial, and in 2016 was awarded the prestigious Antique Automobile Club of America's Peterson Fire Apparatus Award. Here's a Chrysler 300 convertible. Black, white top, red interior. This is a 1962. Looks like it does have a push-button transmission. And for those of you who saw my Imperial video, you would have seen and known that Chrysler was big into doing that with their vehicles. Very futuristic. Here's an Eldorado. Oh, it's a pace car. There we go. 1973. Official pace car, 57th Annual Indianapolis 500. There's an authenticity manual. All the paperwork. Let's take a look at the inside. Maybe they have a plaque somewhere. Looks like the headrest is actually a little bit higher than I would have expected for this year. Isn't that a little bit taller?
Well,
kind of like the 69 Cadillac?
It looks a lot like a 69, doesn't it? But that may be correct for an Eldorado in 73.
In that year. I like that. I like the higher
it has
seat
a split
back.
seat, which would have been an option.
So is this Cadillac a 1960 maybe, or a 58 maybe, a little bit older?
You're right,
60, okay. Yeah, the fins are a little bit smaller than the 59. It's 66, okay. Nice blue. I like the blue and the white top. That looks good. Monte Carlo. Now, do you think that the headlights were on, or do you think that maybe the vacuum is...
When the vacuum had a small leak, which you could tell if there was an issue with the vacuum, the headlights come up. So when he starts the car, they'll go back down again.
Yep.
So there's probably a vacuum leak somewhere that's allowing the headlights to go up.
Sure, it's not a simple system to get down.
Not a simple system.
So what kind of features does it have, Dad?
Not only does it have the split seats, split in both power seats on driver and passenger, it also has auto dimming and the delay headlights, which I have not seen in this era of Lincoln having both of those. Pretty sure it has tilt wheel because it was on the turn signal, and it has cruise control. So this is very optioned vehicle.
Here's a Lincoln Town Car. Let's check it out. Oh, I like the Lincoln emblem right in the headlights there. So you've driven a town car from this era?
Absolutely. Many of them very popular. They made a lot of rental car companies, wide range of price because you get them pretty stripped down to luxury vehicles. This was the big Lincoln, so a lot of livery services, funeral homes would buy these. Other people that wanted big cars.
Now this is actually a pretty unique BMW. This is a V12, and this is a 1991 BMW 850i, I believe. And this is actually quite an interesting vehicle because it was a coupe. I have heard that the V12s aren't necessarily reliable, but that's probably making this car all the more rare and unique. You do have back seats, but not a whole lot of room. Tons of buttons. But I just love how long the hood is. Really actually a beautiful looking car. And here we have an Oldsmobile Trofeo, and I did get to review one of these not that long ago, and I really loved it. And that one had the touchscreen on the interior, which truly was so futuristic. 31,000 miles, wow. And I do have permission to open the door and check out the interior. Just look at those seats. Very nice color. Wow, this is in really nice shape. Smells like new in here too, unsurprisingly. Here's a 69 Coupe de Ville. About 4,500 miles are on this vehicle. Let's see if we can take a look at this interior. Wow.
So this vehicle does not have cruise control. Does not have Twilight Sentinel auto dimming, and it doesn't have a lot of the options. Back then, you ordered a car with what you wanted, and whoever ordered this car didn't want those features.
Wow. I would have wanted those features, me personally. And this car would have had the dial cruise control on the left side, correct?
Correct. That is
kind of
correct.
in the dashboard, I believe.
Yes, that is correct.
And you owned a 69 Fleetwood, so
I had a 69 Fleetwood.
you
I
know
loved
these
it.
like the back of your hand.
Yes, I absolutely love that car. One of my all-time favorites that I've ever owned.
And there's a town car here from the early 90s. Mid-90s, I think, just had a nicer look, honestly, than the kind of more rounded look of the early 2000s to 2011 or so when they discontinued it. This one has a cellular phone in the interior. That's pretty cool. That would have been very futuristic for 1994. And a cavernous trunk. Not really know what it is, but I just really like the look of this era of Buick with the quad headlights, the interesting looking hood and fender treatment with those creases, as well as the kind of floating Buick badge right in the center of the grille. Very unique, and I just don't see it that often. Check out this Fleetwood d'Elegance. Now this looks pretty much exactly the same as a Fleetwood we saw at the Grand National in Gettysburg, so honestly I'm guessing it's the same car because they're really not that far from Gettysburg, so we've probably seen this car already, but it's certainly worth a second look just because of how nice it looks. I love the color combination, the really nice looking comfortable seats, and this beautiful kind of pale green color. It really does look nice. And we should also take a look at this 67 Cadillac Eldorado. Now, it looks like this one comes from Fulton, Maryland. First year for the new design and front wheel drive. Original paint, original vinyl top, original interior, original engine, transmission. He's the 4th registered owner, and this car shows 52,800 miles. Boy, oh boy, does it look like it's a low mileage car. Check out the interior. It is green to match the exterior. And boy, I just love the looks of this era of Eldorado. Very stately, very luxurious looking. Here's a black 72 town car. Big interior. I think I prefer the newer mid-70s town cars, the kind of light bar across the entire rear end of the car. This doesn't look quite as stately to me, but it still looks beautiful. And I also really like the speedometer on these Lincoln Town cars with what looks kind of like a thermometer that kind of increases as you increase speed. Very interesting design. Now here's a gorgeous 76 sedan DeVille. White, blue pinstriping. I really like that color combination myself. There's the interior. Very similar to the car that I reviewed, the sedan DeVille, but that was a 75 and a red one. And we recently saw it at the Cadillac Fall Festival at the Gilmore Museum. According to the odometer, 29,739. Who knows if that would have rolled over or not. I love this. I really like this color combination personally. This is the blue and the white, and it really looks stately.
Very unusual and very, very well loaded. It looks like it has about every option from the thermometer, auto dimming, twilight sentinel, climate control, delay wipers,
yep.
Cruise, tilt, telescopic. Does not have 8-track, but other than that, it looks like it has every available option on the DeVille.
And what's nice is right along this street near the entrance is where all the cars come in the morning, and this was absolutely filled to the brim with people watching the cars drive by, which is really cool. And then they do the same thing again in the afternoon at around 3. All the cars leave and everyone gets to watch them drive off. Don't know if we'll stay long enough to see that, but I did get to see some of the cars driving in, which was a fun experience. We have a blue 59 Fleetwood. It's a matching blue interior and the shiniest dashboard I've ever seen. Someone really armor-rolled that thing up. And they got the trunk open, so we'll take a look. And we found the 61 Imperial. Look at those headlights, that grille. Air conditioned by Air Temp. That must have been the branding that Imperial used for their air conditioning. We'll get a better look at the inside. Now I did just review an Imperial from the late 50s, and this steering wheel is actually a lot more fancy looking than that particular one. Wow. More traditional looking vents on the dashboard, and the mirror has been moved up to the top of the windshield, kind of in a normal position, except this one does not appear to have any storage in the door, which I am surprised about. I would think they would keep that. We found a 73 Fleetwood. Any special options, Dad, from what you can see?
Well, it does have the split seat. I can't tell if it has the dual power seats, which would have been a rare option. Obviously it has the footrest. It is the Brougham, so it does have the reading lights, footrests, and the split seat was probably a Brougham feature. But let's look at the other side. Auto dimming and twilight sentinel, which was again rare to have both of those on a car.
Cool.
And outside thermometer.
Oh, that's
that
nice.
might have been one of the first years of the outside thermometer. I'm not sure what year that started.
There's a really neat looking Pontiac Catalina station wagon here. Looks like this is a 1960s. So this would have been kind of like the family car, I suppose, back then. Tons of space. And then the rear-facing bench seat. Yeah, there's a switch here in the back to lower the window in the tailgate. That's pretty neat that the people in the back could control that. And right next to it is a convertible. Pontiac Catalina. Looks to be nicely appointed. And they almost look to be the same color as well to one another, which is kind of cool. I like seeing them both next to each other. We have a couple early 90s Cadillacs here. Sedan DeVille and an Eldorado. This one has the 4.9, so does this one. Black interior on the Eldorado. I do like these. We did review an Eldorado a few years ago. That was in 1999.
There you go.
And let's check out the DeVille.
That's very good. Mine did. My wife's car.
Dad, you like the 4.9 liter engines and the 4.5?
Yes.
So very reliable.
Yes, much better than the 4.1, because remember they had the 4.1 earlier and that had issues, but the 4.5 and then the 4.9 even more powerful, and did that all the way through, at least on the DeVille, through 94, 95, whenever they switched everything to North Star. So somewhere in that area before they did North Star, and also North Star was an option on certain models, so the 4.9 was standard on the Cadillac, on the ones that had the optional North Star.
Okay, we made it through all of the vehicles here at the 2024 Hershey, Pennsylvania Car Show. I really was blown away by what I saw. There's just so much to see here. Trucks, cars, antique vehicles, steam cars, any era you can imagine, it is all here. I truly loved it here. This is my first time, and I will certainly be coming back again to Hershey in the following years to come. Thank you all so much for watching. Please remember to comment, like, and subscribe, and to come again for more videos soon.